Assalamu alaikum. I'm Salma Kazi Wahab, and welcome to a new year and a new you, inshallah. On this new season of Along the Path, we take you on an amazing adventure into the lives of the guests that we're going to speak to. And we're so excited to have with us today a fantastic guest that is going to allow you to also channel yourself to a spiritual new year, a new you, and also maybe new eating habits, new lifestyle habits, we don't know. All happening today on the program. So your spiritual awakening can come in anywhere you may come least expected. And sometimes it just affects your heart, soul, and mind in the most unseen sort of ways. And that's exactly what this conversation is going to be all about. We're taking on a little bit of a Middle Eastern adventure here, specifically Baghdad, Iraq, and all the places that my journey also started with the guest we have with us today. Sister Razia, Ayob, thank you so much for taking the time out to sit with us, for inviting us into your space, and I look forward to this conversation with you.
Thank you, Salma, for having me.
Such a pleasure. I went with a blue theme today, purely Baghdad, and I can see you did the same also.
Yes.
All blue vibes today. But before we get into that, when we talk about a sense of spirituality, they say you truly know somebody when you travel with them. I'm fortunate enough to have traveled with you as well. And that's the beautiful thing about that. But what is the most amazing thing about traveling with a person, especially when it's something with a spiritual sort of connection? It's an entirely different experience. You can go on girls' trips to Paris, to London, wherever in the world. But going on a trip purely with a spiritual purpose has a different message altogether.
Absolutely.
How important do you think it is finding some sort of spiritual connection in today's day and age?
I think it is the most important thing. Before we even start with that, I'll just tell you a little story about my mentor, who's your father. He said to me when I started learning, and he said, don't waste my time. If you want to find Allah, then you meet Him 5 times a day, and that is in your salah. And that is where we all have to start and adapt our lifestyles to our salah. To our salah, not our salah, to our lifestyle. So you meet Him, if you love Him and claim to love Him, then you meet Him in your salah 5 times a day. So that should be put right first. And then from there, in spirituality, you learn how to feel. There just comes this yearning in you, a yearning that's like a burning actually. And from that, you start to feel. And Hazrat always said that you cannot worship until you feel and until you love. And he always told me that the easiest way to Allah is just to love Him. And he was absolutely right. So for me, I would say that everyone needs to take at least a half an hour in their busy day, because we can't, as you just said just now, Salma, go and live in the mountains and, that's the easy way. But we live in this life, we are mothers, we are wives, we have careers. So just take half an hour in that time to meditate. We call it muraqabah. And you just close your eyes, you let all those thoughts shut out, and you just, meditate. And it's the most amazing feeling that you just get from that. Muraqabah means to draw closer to Allah. So for me, that was my start of it all. And then, of course, all the journeys to Baghdad and all over.
I can imagine, and you're fortunate enough to have done it several times. But you mentioned now that many of us, and that's one of the points we were discussing before this, is we all have lives to live at the end of the day. As much as we would love to isolate ourselves and find ourselves a corner and just block out the noise, we have to still live. We have to still earn money. Our kids still have to go to school. There's so many different roles, responsibilities, and obligations. How do you then find that switch? Where do you find it? For some people, it is on their musalla. It is that moment. For some people, it is certain maybe reading that they do before they sleep. Maybe it's the time that they wake up. Maybe it's places that they happen to frequent. What for you would say are your portals to absolutely finding that peace that you need?
Okay, well, firstly, because the day is so busy, for me, it's like maybe before Fajr or just after Fajr, that time to meditate or to do your readings that you have to do. Because for me, if I don't do it then the day is gone and I don't find the time to do it. So, and that time of the morning is so beautiful, it's so peaceful. I find that's the time that I can connect the best. And also then I go to Baghdad once a year for the Urs. So people will say, oh, well, why do you need to go back there every year? And this year I thought about that. And this year when I stood there, I knew exactly why I go back there every year. And you know it too, Salma, you went with me. It's that feeling you get, that feeling that you can't even describe. something that just fills your heart, and you come back so fulfilled that even any other place in the world besides Medina is like an anticlimax. You go anywhere after Baghdad, you are not going to enjoy the place. And I'm telling you that I had a friend that came with me, and she went to Turkey and stayed there for like 2 weeks, and she messaged me and she says, I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't enjoy this. And I just smiled. I said, but didn't I tell you? But that's just what Baghdad is. It is not a luxury holiday. You can have like 5-star hotels in that if you want, but most of us live in the compound. It's a nafs breaker because you're going to have to share with like thousands of people, but you don't see any of that, you know?
I think what's incredible is, and when it comes to places like Baghdad or Iraq, and now people are learning so much more about Palestine and other places, you find people wanting to go to Jordan now, wanting to explore Egypt, with somewhat of a connection with the Middle East, but it's so much of history and significance attached to these places as well, which make your trips, your family trips, more special, more beneficial. How did you find these trips to Baghdad or Iraq benefiting you on the long term? Like, what do you really look back and say, wow, you know, that was incredible to see that, or it was incredible to experience that? I remember so many things, but I'd love to hear yours as well.
Yeah, well, you know, Baghdad was the center of learning in those days. So there's lots of mosques that you can see. Imam Abu Hanifa, I mean, most of us are Hanafi here. Imam Abu Hanifa's mosque is there. Beautiful, huge. There's ample space for the ladies as well. You see the ladies frequent the mosques. There's Imam Ghazali. If you see his structure, it's like just a simple little structure, and you think, what a great Islamic figure. And his structure was like so simple. And then you get other figures. There are lots of prophets on the way. We go to Hilaal, where we see the mosque of Nabi Ayob alayhi salam. You see the well of Shifa there. You see the mosque of his wife Rahma. That's on the way to Hilaal. Then you get Mosul, where it's Nabi Yunus alayhi salam, Nabi Sheeth alayhi salam. And then on to Karbala and Najaf. We all know the story of Karbala. And for me, I had like a shock. I just expected to see a battlefield, but like it's in the middle of a marketplace, the most beautiful marble and in between the two domes. And there as well, the energy is like just electric. So you see the history of everything, you know, and a lot of the saints' history, if we know about it, like the Khalif of the time was Harun al-Rashid. And they say that his brother was Ba'alul Dana, radiallahu anh, and he was known as the crazy man. But he was actually a great saint, you know. And he used to advise Harun al-Rashid. And you see his structure as well. You know, it's just amazing where you can walk through one graveyard and see a whole lot of saints buried there. Nabi Yusha alayhi salam as well. There's another mosque of Sayyidina Imam, Sayyidina Maruf Karki. He was actually, his parents were Christian and he became Muslim. He was a contemporary in the time of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, Qaddasallah al-Aziz. So, you know, besides that, and also when on the way to Sayyidina Salman Farsi, we all know who he is, there's the castle of Khisra. And there you can see, this is like history, where these people were fire worshippers. And their fire never went out at all. But the time Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born, a crack appeared in that castle and the fire went out. And you can see that crack. And we've got pictures going there. It's been under construction for a while, but we never really went in, but we see it from the outside. So there's even Babylon, which we haven't been to. Babylon has a lot of history as well. So it's not only for Muslims, the history is really, really rich.
I can imagine. Whenever I think back to my trip, I always get teased about it by my brother. And he would say, you came back, you couldn't even stand straight. You were just emotional. And I said, that's exactly what a trip like that does to you. It's almost like it leaves you in this almost where you don't want to come out of that state. I remember returning to work and just wanting to read every few minutes and get onto the musalla or hear the sound of the durood, the way it would play before the azan would start. You'll hear them recite the salawat, or even before fajr, the salawat and everything that's before the Fajr Salah. So I think that those types of trips are so meaningful and so significant. What would be some of your personal highlights that you would say really stuck out for you? For me, it was the Kurdish zikr, to see that for the very first time, to see how the Kurds make zikr. And I do know you're going to go back there as well. So what would you say?
Yeah, the Kurds are absolutely, you know, awesome, mind-blowing. that's why we're going there now. And my brother, well, his sheikh is from there, so we actually going to stay in their compound in Kurdistan. That was the one thing. The other thing was just being in that vicinity of the shrine of Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, and just meditating there, just looking into myself. Lots of things, things that I can't even say these things on camera, which the mind cannot understand. So, yeah, I left my heart there, and I came back, and so I just have to go back every year. I think my soul lives there. It's just the most amazing place. A lot of, you will make a dua there and wish for something, and you'll actually literally see it happen. And that is something, for me, that was like mind-blowing.
And I think it comes back to the point, like you mentioned right at the beginning, when your life revolves around the basics and the fundamentals, that awareness, everything fits into place. Then the salah you're reading then all the time. And that's what happens when people go for umrah. All of a sudden that consciousness is there. You want to recite, you want to pray. You're also eating better as well. The food that's provided and then the company that you're keeping. So far you're transporting us very much into the land of Baghdad. And I'm looking very forward to you giving us a Middle Eastern experience as well. You're going to treat us to your very famous falafels. Yes. And you're going to give us that experience, and also, what is it, a fatoush?
Yes, fatoush.
So when you're typically in Baghdad, would that be the type of food you would eat?
No, fatoush is more a Lebanese salad. Okay. Yeah, falafel is all over the Middle East. Everybody makes it, yeah.
So let's get making the famous falafels here, done by Sister Razia. She's going to give us we're not going to get to know the secret recipe maybe just yet, but we're going to make our very own falafel wraps and learn how to make a fatoush as well. All that coming up after this. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. We're having our Middle Eastern flavors going on, and after a wonderful, inspiring and soul-stirring connection, one of the other most amazing things about traveling to places in the Middle East, I remember the wraps and all those amazing things, especially the breads and the labans and the yogurts that we got to enjoy in our mornings and breakfast in Baghdad and Iraq, but we're getting to have a feel of how to make your very own fatoush. And I love that it's simple portions, so it's something that we can also try at home very easily for the family. So take us through what we need and how to put it together.
Okay, so this is called fatoush. It's a Lebanese salad. Well, I learned it in Lebanon. I'm sure you will find it in many of the Arab countries. Also very healthy, Salma. That's one of the things, that we need to remember.
Also a coach.
As a coach,
yes,
I try to, implement this in all my students, that they should eat properly. Mm-hmm. And this is very healthy food. So in fatoush, we have lettuce, we have cucumber, spring onion, parsley, mint, and tomatoes. I don't normally add tomatoes because my family doesn't like tomatoes. It makes it a bit mushy. But today we're going to just add it in, okay? So let's just do this. So we're going to first put the lettuce in. There's the lettuce.
And just for that is the fried pitas.
That comes on at the end onto the top. Okay. Right? Then we have our spring onion. This is now just small portions that I'm making. You can normally, for a family, you can buy one of each, a bunch of each. Yeah. Like, one lettuce, one bunch of spring onion.
But this is so lovely and it also can get you accustomed to traveling, because you'll find this in Palestine, or in Baghdad, or in different parts, Egypt. Definitely. This is a staple, and it's so healthy.
Refreshing. It's refreshing. Sorry.
That is parsley.
So your parsley must be chopped fine.
Okay.
This is mint. Mint just gives it that extra. I just love the taste the mint gives in the salad. And then the tomato. Cannot put too much. And then you mix them all together.
Wow.
Okay, so it's not chunky and it's not too fine. It's like an in-between kind of.
And you could add more things to this.
And you can see how it looks. You can add radish. I wouldn't add chickpeas. No. Then you're changing the salad, right? Yeah. So you can add radish to it. Radish is the thing that's missing here. Okay, so that's how it looks. And then The salad dressing is just garlic, fresh lemon. Always use fresh garlic and fresh lemon, and olive oil. And then you add a bit of salt. So your salt and your lemon has to sort of neutralize itself. That's the secret of any salad. You don't want it to be too sour or too salty. When the salt and the lemon mix together, it neutralizes and it gives you that very nice taste. I'm just going to throw this over. Okay. Let's mix it again.
I love the smell now.
Yeah, can you get that smell? You get the smell of the parsley, the mint, very refreshing, and the garlic. And olive oil is always healthy. I always like to just throw a little bit of extra over there. There you go. And then on top, you just garnish with your pitas. And that's the fatoush. There you have it. There you go.
Perfect. What a lovely accompaniment for a braai, even on the side, to just keep it. Beats a potato salad, for sure. So wonderful. Let's get to those falafels that are calling my name, and I can't wait to see what we're going to do with those. So there's our famous falafels, and as hard as I tried to get this recipe, that was not going to happen because it's so high in demand. Durban's favorite and famous falafels. But can you show us what we can do here? A nice wrap idea. I usually would have a falafel and just dip it into your hummus, but show us what you like or prefer doing.
So very tasty wrap. Okay, it's not exactly the Arab way. It's but
Indianized South African
yes.
way.
So whoopsie. Oh. All right, so what you do first is, this is a sauce, it's a garlic base, and it has some lemon in it. So you can decide if you want it to be slightly chili. So I put a little bit of chili at the bottom.
That's just plain ground chilies.
Yeah, that's just plain crushed green chilies. And then you place your falafels on there, 3. And then you can choose what greens you like. All right, so you place your 3 falafels on your wrap, and then you decide what you like. For me, the most tasty combination is spring onions. Put the spring onions in there, some cucumber, and I like coriander, so dhania. I like this combination. You can put tomatoes in if you want. Again, I leave the tomatoes out because I just find it makes it mushy. And then it's the sauce that's actually makes it. And that is the wrap. Simple but very tasty. And then you roll it up and then you can press it and heat it, and that's the wrap.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and it comes like this. I sell it like this in frozen, fried and frozen, and you can get you can actually add hummus to this, but I prefer it just like this. So that's the perfect falafel wrap.
And with that, it's a wrap of the show with our hearts and minds fully ready for a Baghdadi Iraqi experience, inshallah, perhaps with Sister Razia soon, but with lots of love from us. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.